Hey gamers, Maniac here with another Tales from IT. I don't know why I didn't tell this story. I've had this story happened quite a while ago, and I don't know why it hasn't been part of my Tales from IT stories. I guess maybe it slipped my mind, or maybe it was just something that I had gotten caught up with other more recent stories and wanted to tell those first. But this story is not a news story, but this story is a fun story, and you guys are going to love this. Now, anybody who's been on my YouTube channel for a while knows I pretty much have this ongoing cycle of video game and video game related shirts. The reason for that is that I have not paid for clothes in years. I wear shirts that were literally given to me, whether it be at trade shows or whatever. It's very rare that I go to the store and buy clothing. In fact, I can probably count on less than one hand the amount of times I've been personally clothes shopping for myself in the past 20 years. It's not something that I do. I don't need to. I get shirts all the time from everything. So one of the things that I had, or one of the shirts that I had in my regular rotation, you guys might have seen it, was my Doom 3 shirt. I got that shirt basically for free with a pre-order of Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil, of all things. And it was part of my regular rotation of clothing for the past 10 years. Well, I also do IT work. I don't just do this, I also do IT work. And one day was kind of funny, actually. Occasionally, like I said, I get called in, usually for emergencies or things like that. It's very rare, very unusual when I actually get scheduled in for work. Usually if it's a small business or something like that, they'll usually call me in if something catastrophic has happened. But in one case, in one particular time, I was put in an environment that I haven't been put in an environment since. I used to actually do IT work, or an occasional IT work for a local neighborhood church. They got computers, they'd break their computers, I'd fix their computers. Or at least I'd be able to diagnose their computers to be able to, so that we could fix them later on. And they liked me. And at one point, I guess the school, like, it was not just a church, it was a private school and it was a church and it was a rectory. And the private school it was towards the end of the year, it was the summertime. And my guess is that the school was starting to make ideas for technology, or at the very least had to start making decisions for what they were going to do with their technology. And they had a stack of about a half a dozen laptops that they had been given out to professors that have used for the year, or for previous years, I don't know, that they were thinking about either trashing or keeping, depending upon what was going to be needed for them. And so I got called in for what was essentially going to be a 3-day period of work to simply take the computers, wipe them, diagnose them if they had any problems, and provide a list of, okay, this is a problem, I couldn't do this, or I could do this, or this is what I did to them, over the course of 3 days to the school principal. Fine, great, wonderful, fantastic. I completely neglected the fact to remember that this was a private school, of which there was a dress code. Now, this was before I took any formal A+ training. In fact, actually, A+ training for me was pretty much just, this is what you know, this is what you know, this is what you know. I already pretty much knew the entire A+ manual before I even looked at it. And I have looked at it. I'm like, I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this. So, but there was a couple of things they basically say when it comes to guidelines. And I disagree with these guidelines, and I actually wrote an article about this, which is that you're supposed to look professional when you come into these things. I disagree. There are no, other than basics of cleanliness, there has never been a compelling argument that I've accepted in my entire life as to why people should have a dress code. Most major technology organizations don't have them. There's no worse for wear whatsoever. So you can't argue, well, it makes the argument, there is no historical evidence to back up any of your claims of safety or anything. Like I said, basic cleanliness, sure. Don't come in looking like coming in smelling like a disgusting slob. But, because then you'd just be sad to be around. I don't want to smell you anymore, you know. So I get that. But other than that, I don't care if you wear a shirt. And honestly, I have to admit this. The public have seen movies like War Games. They know that nerds don't dress like a bunch of engineering IT for NASA. They know they wear shirts like this. They know they wear hoodies. I think that I am actually more acceptable to the layman, and I'll use that term lightly, as a computer expert than probably some idiot coming in with a pencil, pocket protectors and Coke bottle glasses and a suit and tie. That's just my opinion, but it's based on historical facts. So I'm going through my regular stuff, and over the course of the days, I come in, scheduled time. I'm working. They set me up in the library, which is also doubling as a media thing. We have all the laptops all set up. We have a lot of laptops. I have to wipe all of them. I have to update all of them to the most recent version of Windows. I think these are Windows XP laptops, of which Service Pack 3 was out by that point. And I had to basically get Service Pack 3 on all of them, which takes forever when you have a clean laptop that doesn't even have Service Pack 1 on it, or barely has Service Pack 1 on it. So yeah, it took 3 days to basically go through these shirts, go through these laptops. Over the course of me wearing shirts like Doom 3 or... And again, I didn't think anything of it until probably around day 2 or day 3 when they had a bunch of kids come into the library, again, for just regular library stuff. Again, the librarian was there, the teacher was there. They had us all, but it was a big room, and so I was working off on the side, and the kids were basically doing their studies and everything else, and it was all fine. Until, I guess the class was wrapping up or something, when all the kids looked at me like, "You're the coolest person I've ever seen in my entire life. What do you do for a living, and how can I get that job?" True story. In case you're curious what happened with the laptops, all the I think with like one exception, none of the teachers even, for the majority of those computers, I don't think any of the teachers, I think maybe 1 or 2 teachers at most actually used the laptops. And so I had to basically come back to them where it was like, I could wipe all of them, they're all fine, but all the batteries are completely dead. And these are outmoded models that, for all I know, you can't find batteries for anymore. One that was used did not have a dead battery, but it did have a damaged screen, probably from flipping it up and flipping it down harshly, not gently, because it was moving the screen around, and I basically had to say, diagnosis, broken screen, and so that one I'm sure we just threw in the trash. Kept the battery, I'm sure. But, yeah. So, what can I learn from this? What guys can you learn from this? Why have these standards for, these were kids in uniforms. These were kids in uniforms. And, again, here I came in, I guess you could say like I'll use this term as a joke. I was a pilgrim in an unknown land or something like that. But it was a fun time. I got paid pretty well for it. I gave my diagnosis. I'm proud of the diagnosis that I did. And unfortunately, they haven't called me back. I don't think it was because of the shirts. I think it's just because they haven't needed me. But it was a fun time. It was a fun story. I got to work for 3 days. The librarian was pretty cool, and I got to wear cool shirts. And so I think I might have inspired a generation of IT kids at that point. So, hope you enjoyed the story. I know it was brief. Until next time, guys, my name is Maniac. GamingSuccess.net. Take care. Over and out.